5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's get going. Hey, everybody. It is a special Christmas night here for Live Long and Podcast. What is it today? December the 19th, right?
Not Christmas night.
It's not
December
Christmas
19th.
night.
We're a week away. We're a week away from Christmas. We're on Christmas week's Eve. And it's special here is we're starting a new podcast series here on Live Long and Podcast called Star Trek Actors in Questionable Movies, which we got the idea of like, hey, like you ever seen like this Star Trek character in this movie or etc. That's and so that's kind of the whole idea here. We're just going to break down different movies. This first one we're doing is called Masters of the Universe. It's from the year 1987. And it features Robert Duncan McNeill from Star Trek Voyager, Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager, and a whole bunch of other people. And this is also like a science fiction movie. It ties into a lot of things. So I think it's a great one to start with. I'm Dave Mader here on Live Long and Podcast, coming at you with Star Trek TV and movie reviews. I'm joined with my wife, Jane Mader. How you doing, Jane?
I'm good.
I got it. And then also we're joined with Kevin and Ashley Millard. How are you two tonight?
We're good.
Excellent.
Good. And like so, here I'm just gonna take the snowfall off so people can see us. It was getting a little distracting. We were getting a little too snowy there. But we're here to talk about Masters of the Universe. I picked this. I said we got to start this podcast because Kevin had mentioned he had never seen the movie, and it's more than just the fact that Robert Duncan McNeill is in this movie. This movie is close to my heart. This movie features the iconic He-Man character, who was a toy line from Mattel in the 1980s.
Was he?
Well, he's not a real person, but he's He-Man.
Evidence
I
by
thought you said Key-Man. I thought like the locksmith.
Yeah.
Like, was he?
He was Key-Man.
Okay.
No, he wasn't.
No, He-Man. Yes,
Yes.
I know He-Man.
Yes. But Jane, when we first started dating, I made you watch this movie.
You did.
So this was your second time seeing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was it better the second time?
No. No.
No.
No. No. It was a rough watch.
Yeah. What was maybe the roughest part for you?
Oh my god. Just not caring, I guess.
What about
The movie?
about the whole thing?
The whole thing? I gotta admit, like at the end I was a little more engaged. But yeah.
The action when we got to the final act?
Maybe, yeah. But yeah.
Okay, so
It
not
was
your
a rough
first
go with
time.
me.
It's
Yeah.
been a couple of years. Let's go to Kevin next. Kevin, this is the first time you have seen this movie.
Yeah.
Was it a couple nights ago? I believe you weren't. It's not maybe as fresh for you. What's your thoughts on this movie?
It was something. It was I was enjoying it actually. I was the reverse of Jane. I was more engaged at the beginning. Because when they're wherever they are in the beginning, and when they're in Eternia, I even said to Ashley, I said, this movie is it's no different than say The Mandalorian. The only difference is budget. Like it's not that bad. And then they go to Earth. And then
is that where it goes downhill? Like, I've heard this before. Like people don't like when the story shifts over into the Earth setting.
Well, why didn't we have just a story on Eternia?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know why. I think to cross it over would make it relevant because in the He-Man cartoon there is some crossover with Earth, but it's pretty minimal. This in this movie is big. It's a big part of this movie. Them crossing over with Earth is a huge part of it, and there's a bunch of differences between like He-Man, the toy or the cartoon, that character, that version of the character, and what we get in this movie.
Oh yeah, he is not the He-Man character at all because he has zero personality in this movie.
Dolph Lundgren?
Lundgren. Oh my god. Why why didn't they get someone that could act? Like I know that maybe they were like, oh, Arnold did really well with an accent, but Jesus, Dolph Lundgren.
I don't know. He's got the look of He-Man.
He definitely wasn't the star of the show. Like in no way would I say,
No.
wow. Like, wow. You
Well,
really stood out.
who's your favorite character in this movie?
Skeletor.
Yeah,
for
Skeletor
sure.
is the most memorable. Yeah.
Okay, let's
And
talk
did a
about
great
Skeletor.
job. I think improved that character from the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this character now, he doesn't set his voice very different than that cartoon Skeletor, that like He-Man and all that. He's much more, but he tears up the scenery in this movie, Frank Langella.
Yeah.
Also a Star Trek actor.
What was he in? Well, yeah, he was in the Bajoran trilogy that we did on D Space Nine to start season 2.
Yep.
Again, he was only in it because his son told him to. Apparently, he signed on to this role because his son told him to, and then he signed on to Star Trek: Deep Space Nine and that Bajoran.
Well, his son ruined his career because he's an excellent actor, and I haven't seen him in anything else.
He's like, I asked my son to be my agent, and things in my career were kind of up and down. Go figure. Which
dated a Star Trek actor for a number of years.
Who's that?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Really?
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
they were a long-term item. Whoopi Goldberg and Frank Langella.
What? What'd you say? Dating?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I watched this movie a bunch of times when I was a kid. He's very memorable. Which version of Skeletor do you like more? Do you like a black hooded version or do you like gold mask version?
Cleopatra Skeletor?
Yeah, Cleopatra Skeletor.
That's what I said when he came out and all that. I'm like, why is Cleopatra there now?
Right. Okay. Let's talk about Skeletor. He's the villain of this movie. He's and the fact that like Dolph Lundgren as He-Man is kind of one-dimensional. He's kind of just this hero wrestler kind of guy. But like Frank Langella is a somewhat compelling villain. And I guess the biggest thing I noted tonight watching it this time around was how hard he makes it on his entire staff. He's like, "Don't kill He-Man. I want him alive." And the rest of his goons are like, "Can't we just try to kill him? Because we have to always try not to kill him, and that's why he always beats us." You know?
Yeah. And the key. I don't know why, but I had like a visceral reaction to that. I hate it. Just in general, I don't know why.
What the
looking at it, making me angry and uneasy. Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Well, what about and so the key, and that's the kind of the thing that ties this plot together, is Robert Duncan McNeill's character. Where is he? I need to find him. Sorry,
Kevin. Who would they?
Kevin.
I thought the movie was talking to me most of the time. They say Kevin like 10,000 times in this movie. It's crazy.
I never
say it 4 times in a sentence.
I never would have known that he was the character. Like that was the name of his character. Really, like I know it is now that you say it, but
I didn't pay attention to that.
What's her name? Julie, right?
Julie. They say that a lot.
They do. They say names. They say He-Man a lot too. Like they say the names a lot in this movie.
Yeah, and Julie, and she had the infection and everything else.
That was nasty.
Yeah,
leg infection.
Yeah, that was. You were like, ugh.
And I was not paying attention, so I looked up and went, "What's going on with that?"
Robert Duncan McNeill, he is Kevin, as we mentioned here. He is the main character, like that ties us into this being Star Trek related. Yeah. And he, this is 8 years before he would go on to do Star Trek Voyager. I don't know if there's anything else in between this
Next Gen.
Well, yeah, he guest starred on Next Gen in the first duty that led to him being cast in that show. And then I think he does a lot of directing work now and things like that. I think he's fine in this movie. I think that a lot of them are good in this movie. Yeah. I think that this movie's
not all bad.
This movie's, if anything I could accuse this movie of being is sort of a ripoff of a lot of other things. It's okay. The first few minutes of this movie are like the title sequence. Like it's this music that is very reminiscent of the Richard Burton Superman score. It's like, and it's like, it's even got the credits coming in over space, flying in. It's almost like a paint. They're like, what's working right now? Then they have like stormtroopers there and these Skeletor guards. And then we also got He-Man. He's kind of got the sword and the blaster, and he's
Conan the Barbarian.
He's kind of Conan the Barbarian, but he's also Star Wars-esque. What else? They also had a tricorder at one point. Like the Man of Arms is using like a tricorder-like device to scan something. It was like it's almost a little Star Trek-y here.
In the show, like in the TV show, do they have like blasters and stuff? No, right? I'm having a hard time remembering it. This wasn't one of my favorite shows.
I think I think they like. I remember Man of Arms could shoot things out of his arms. Like
they were running around with guns, like lasers and shit. I don't remember that from He-Man.
No, like that was like I think certain characters had the ability to shoot things and stuff, but it wasn't like every character. He-Man was mostly just like with his sword and we had no battle cat.
No.
Yeah, he was flying around on that skateboard.
Yeah, you know what he looked like there with the special effects? He looked like one of those toppers you get at the movies with the character with the drink. You put the topper on.
Ashley, we haven't heard from you yet. Ashley, what's your thoughts on this movie? Are you a fan of this movie?
I am, but for nostalgic reasons. I'm the same as you. I watched it a lot as a kid. I loved it as a kid because I did love He-Man and more specifically She-Ra. So I watched this movie many times as a kid.
Okay, and does it not hold up as much as you remember?
I don't think so. Like, I still enjoyed it. Skeletor has always been the standout for me. Like, when I thought back to, because I hadn't watched this probably since I was a kid, like 9 years old, maybe. And Skeletor was always, anytime I thought of Masters of the Universe, I always thought of Skeletor. So he's definitely the standout for me.
What about Meg Foster? Let's talk a little bit about Meg Foster in the role of Evil Lynn. I thought she was like, we talk about a lot of Skeletor, but I think she's really good in this kind of second in command. Now, both times she gets the key for Skeletor, which means she has all the power, but she still gives it to Skeletor. So she's very loyal to Skeletor, even though she has numerous kind of chances to sort of backstab him, but she doesn't. So she's kind of an interesting character. Also, interesting fact, I read that a lot of people thought she wore contact lenses for this role, but she didn't.
Her eyes were amazing.
These are just her natural eyes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Her makeup is incredible too.
Yeah,
like it's really good.
She's another
evil
stand-up.
makeup, and the whole outfit. Like they did a really good job on her costume and her makeup. Like she embodies like an evil mistress.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
speaking to me. Sorry.
I think this movie could be better with a little more money and a better actor, like a better lead actor.
Yeah.
Someone who could act. Yeah. Anybody that could act. It'd be better with Danny DeVito as He-Man.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as He-Man.
And a little more backstory, because I haven't watched it since I was a kid. So a little more backstory on what's going on. I felt they didn't really. Yeah,
they jump right in, and so they give you this narration at the beginning, which is kind of nonsense. Every time I hear it, I'm like, what's going on? And I'm still confused by the title, Masters of the Universe, what it's even supposed to mean. But it's what the name of the movie is. It should be called the Keys of the Universe or Tones of the Universe, or Are You a Music Maker? Or
Synthesizers of the Universe.
Or just call it He-Man.
The cartoon was called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
I know, but like,
from
it's okay because they go on the planet. Skeletor has taken over the castle. He's the lord of a place called Snake Mountain, right? Versus the Castle Grayskull. So like him and the Empress, or the Sorceress rather, they are at odds with each other. And He-Man's role in this version is unclear. He seems to be like a knight of Castle Grayskull. And the Sorceress seems to be some kind of a monarch, maybe. But I don't quite know exactly what's going on. Here's the sorceress, by the way.
Now,
Or
who is that?
well, in the cartoon.
No, I meant the actress.
Oh, who plays the sorceress?
Yeah. I was like, is that Helen Mirren? But no.
No.
The sorceress is played by Christina Pickles.
Don't.
Oh, the Pickles woman. I love that last name. I wish that we talked about actually changing our last name to Pickles, but leaving the kids as is.
Yes. Yeah, well, you here you see Christine Pickles, or in her other form.
Yeah.
She's withering.
Christine Pickled.
She's getting a little pickled there, Christina. Yeah, so she's like some kind of magician, powerful, but she's clearly on the side of good, right? That's what we're to believe here. That the He-Man and who are these other people we got? Where are they? I always keep losing people.
I don't know.
What's over here? Yeah, we got this guy,
Yep.
the Man of Arms.
Yeah.
He's like He-Man's.
Man of Arms.
Like I don't know.
Sidekick.
Yeah,
He
he's like he clearly works. He works in the military for this Eternian force, and he's a veteran, and he's been around, and He-Man knows him, and that's all we. They don't explain who these people are
But
really.
he was big from what I remember in the cartoon.
He's a big part of the cartoon, right?
Yeah. Like I remember him.
Man,
for
yeah,
sure.
he's like the only one really, other than maybe the Sorceress and He-Man, who've carried over here on the good side, and then Skeletor and Evil Lyn on the other side. But the other, like that foursome, which we will talk about, those four goons who were bested by Courtney Cox in a gymnasium. But it was yeah, like they've only ones carried over here. I'd say that what's his name, Gwildor. He's kind of reminiscent of Orko from the cartoon.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
but Orko is a different character and a different thing, but similar kind of quirky, whimsical character of the group. I thought that this guy who plays Man of Arms was great. What's his name? John Cypher. And so I don't know. I never heard of John Cypher
He was
before.
on Dynasty.
He's from Dynasty. He's I don't know. He's been around. I thought he was great in this, and then we also had his daughter, which is her name is something. Woman at Arms, she says in the movie. Tila, as played by Chelsea Field. So I don't know. Like it's they're good. Skeletor's bad. That's all. That's it. Like it's kind of meant for kids.
Oh yeah.
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 And that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I was trying to be very generous to this movie and remember when it was made and who it was made for.
Yeah.
And I ended up like it. There are things that are good. Dolph Lundgren is not.
Dolph Lundgren, like he's because he just looks like the part. I accept him now, and I couldn't imagine anybody else in this movie than him now. It's hard to like, but maybe I would have got a better movie. We would have all got a better movie if it had been. I don't know even who you would have dropped in here instead of him at the time. Like even it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, or if it had been somebody along those lines.
Yeah.
He was a dud. He was nothing.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
I think, oh my god.
Wait a minute, a little more
That would've been better.
energy.
That would have been better. At least he's got a personality.
Yeah.
Right. Because they clearly went for the look. They were like,
Yeah.
we need like the muscle,
Yeah.
the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Is this before Rocky IV?
No, it was after.
After.
This is
Yeah, I
after.
think we knew who he was, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was. Yeah.
But I think maybe I'm just wondering if they had a different script in mind and then cast Dolph Lundgren and then he started to act and they were like, oh, we're going to have to make someone else the lead. We're going to have to make another character the lead here.
We need a really good villain. Yeah, because he does the few things. He goes, I have the power. And it's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
But you don't know what it means. What is going on in this world? Like he's got the sword, and the sword is like even Eternia as a place, and like it's a place of magic and technology. They understand space travel and interdimensional rifts, but they're confused by things like microwaves and other little things. Like the idea of somebody be able to like remember a tune is completely foreign to them. That can only be done by like master craftsmen.
Is this the way the TV show was? Like, I don't remember the TV show being at all futuristic.
It was kind of like
not remembering it right, or
It was kind of.
I thought they had machines.
They did have machines.
Yeah.
They did have machines, and they did have the sorceress. So that's true to the source material.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, by this point was only a couple years old. Like He-Man, ran from 80 to 83 or something like that. So this is 87.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't remember He-Man that well, and I just don't remember like when they were running around looking like stormtroopers and shooting blasters. I was like, I don't remember this. I don't remember He-Man being like this.
That like I don't remember.
Yeah.
There were definitely some people who had the technology, but it was more melee weapons and magic and stuff like that. There was also like He-Man has this alter ego, Prince Adam, right? And he's him and She-Ra are twins, and their mother is a human astronaut who crashed on Eternia somehow, and married the king. And you see them sometimes in the cartoon, right? And nobody knows that he's Prince Adam and He-Man, because when he holds up top his magic sword, he says, by the power of Grayskull, and he gets a tan. Takes a lot.
His face is exactly the same, but
his face doesn't change. His haircut.
Superman.
Yes.
At least She-Ra, like her hair changes and her voice changes.
Yeah.
Actually, He-Man's voice changed too. Because when he was Prince Adam, he was kind of like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then he's like, "I am He-Man."
Ripping off Superman a bit again.
Yeah.
Is that what Superman does?
Well, like Clark Kent versus Superman.
Yeah.
When you
anyone who
changes
knows
voice.
both of them should be able to look at him and go, oh, "You're the same person."
Same person.
Dave, I think you should give us a I have the power with your
Voice change
thing.
You needed your sword too.
I gotta imagine. I have the power.
Kind of sounded like an old man.
Yeah. You sound a little tired.
I have the power. Go to bed early tonight.
Being a draft.
We'll try the red one. I have the power.
That's pretty
Give
good.
it your all. Give it from the diaphragm.
I have the power.
That was great because the thing was
The
off.
thing was off.
Now, Jane didn't hear.
Us never asked for that again.
I think you need the sword.
I need this.
The sword would have given you the power.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a pretender.
Enter to the throne. Okay, let's talk about a few. We talked about the makeup. We talked about Eva Lynn's makeup. I want to also talk about these 4 guys. Okay, so there was in no particular. There was this guy Slarg, I believe his name was. We also had Beast Man. We had Lizard Guy,
Man.
whatever his name was, Sorod, and we also had this guy. His name was Blade.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a Borg-ish.
A little bit. Yeah.
Beginning of a Borg there.
Blade was none of. I don't think any of these people are cartoon characters.
To me, they all kind of look like low budget goons from Avengers.
Yeah, they look like these are like alien designs or science fiction designs that nobody bought.
Singing and dancing in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
That also, yeah. Yes.
You look at that guy, you go, and this guy, I love this one. He was like, "Come here, my pretties."
Did he scare you?
No, he didn't scare me. Did it, not? I think the only one that scared me a little bit was Beast Man back in the day, but Beast Man, even he's kind of not really.
Like a Neanderthal.
He beat the crap out of Robert Duncan McNeill. He was thrown around the room. He was like, "What the hell? I fighting a Beast Man now."
All I wanted to do was play my synthesizer.
Yeah, this weird
how
Japanese
80s was
synthesizer. Right. My favorite part with these four guys was when they, as I said earlier, when they finally are sent to Earth, because Skeletor doesn't want to send all his forces. He's worried it's a trap because he doesn't realize that Kevin, not you, Kevin, but Robert Duncan McNeill's character, Kevin, he has been activating this key thing. He's been pushing all the buttons, and that's just sending signals back to Eternio because Skeletor's looking for them because they escaped with Gwildor and all that to Earth.
Yes.
And so they show up in that gymnasium. They beat the crap out of that janitor, but then she starts like running away from them through, like, first she goes through like the grass or like the silver sequined curtains. Then she like goes under the stage, and she's setting things on fire as she's going. And by the end of it, these four trained assassins, Skeletor's best, have the gymnasium's on fire. The whole place is destroyed. They're completely disorganized, and she's run away. And then she eventually runs into He-Man. But I thought that was extraordinary. Like, just,
Well, they weren't on their home turf. Maybe that was it.
yeah. Well, yeah, that was it. She knew the ins and outs of that stage, and that's how it works. Yeah, so there was that. There was those guys. They were fun. Speaking of Courtney Cox, I love her. There's that version, but then I also have that version.
She's looking at her non-mom.
Yeah. Okay. And just to talk about her character in this movie, the whole thing with, like, her parents were killed in this plane crash. That's her backstory in this movie. It didn't happen that long ago. Maybe, is it
A week?
a year?
Oh, a year?
I don't know. It's unclear.
In the ground, they have a headstone, so it's been
It's
at
been
least
grass has grown.
a few months.
A few months?
It's been at least a few months. Okay. And when the movie starts, when we meet her, she's leaving her job at the chicken and rib place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend, Kevin, as played by Robert Duncan McNeill, is taking her to the airport to fly where? Like to school? Is that what was happening?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, so she's like, I'm not going to talk about it with you anymore, Kevin. I'm going away. Okay. But later on, when they go back to the house, like, the door's unlocked, all the lights are on. If she was leaving the state or she was going somewhere far away, none of that makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure where she was going and why Kevin was upset about it.
Yeah, the editing is not great on this movie. I think they left a lot out.
Yeah, you think there was like a plot we're just missing here, and they just left in these lines, and
A
If
bunch
there
of it
was
was
a
left
plot-
on the editor's floor.
If there
there's
was
a deep
plot-
plot here, you know, like
Is there more of a plot than Cats?
yes.
Yes?
at least this one is trying at a plot.
Yeah, I know that maybe this movie is not worthy of such dissection, but I was just trying to understand her what was going on with them and the story and everything else, because by the end, like, her parents who've died in this plane crash, you know, after they've defeated Skeletor and everything's over, and Gwildor's like, I can send you back to any point in time. She's like, no, it's okay, just send me back. And then she kind of, like, the last minute goes, oh wait, just send me back to before my parents died in a plane crash. And somehow Gwildor, what did she say? Oh, okay. And he sends her right to the right time. You know, he caught it in the last second.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
I have a whole bunch of questions
Yeah.
about that.
I'm not.
Yes, because she goes back. She gets sent back before her parents died.
Okay, well, I missed that.
But she got sent back into her own body.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's not.
And what happened? Okay, and what happened to Buddy? This guy.
He became like
Strickland.
King of Grayskull or something like that. I didn't understand that part.
Okay, yeah, because afterwards he hooks up with her, right? The cop, whose name is
He's
Detective Hugh Lubick, as played by James Tolkien.
When he was on screen, I just kept saying lines from Top Gun and from
Back to
Back to the
Future. He's like, "Come on, slacker!"
Yes.
You know, they put this guy in every movie in the '80s. Like he was always the guy giving people shit.
These two characters are going to Top Gun.
And I think that this character he plays in this movie is as good as those characters.
So what exactly is he? Why is he sitting up there on the throne?
Unclear.
Unclear.
Like after they defeat Skeletor, there's an undetermined amount of time that goes by, but they've had enough time to clean up the room of all the dead bodies. They've people have gotten changed. The Sorceress is back to young. He-Man's so like there's it's at least been one day, right?
Yeah.
From when that final like battle happens to when like sort of they go home. And yeah, he's like all hooked up. He's like, I'm not going back. So if they changed the past and sent Julie and Kevin into their younger selves to prevent all this, what about him?
He didn't go back.
I think
Then and there's a whole bunch of time travel questions,
What do you mean?
paradoxes.
Well, he just didn't go back.
So, but he's still there. He's still in that time period.
Yeah.
So there's two of them now?
Guess so.
Yeah. What? He was taken away, right?
No, like James Tolkien's character, detective.
Yeah. He went to Eternia and didn't go back.
Yeah, but then they changed the past, so he never would have gone there because that adventure never happened.
It's best not to think about it.
I've been thinking about it for 30 years.
Well, why would okay, well, what would stop the adventure from happening? I mean, I know she stopped her parents from dying.
her future also becomes her past, so it does create a paradox.
All right.
Right. Okay. So let's say yes.
Time travel is want to do.
Yes.
The things that everything still happened on Eternia when it did.
Yes.
Let's assume.
Yes.
Right. And so, but when they show up this time, it will be a version of Julie and Kevin where her parents didn't die,
Yes.
and therefore she won't give the key to Evil Lynn.
True. Yeah.
Right. Like she did.
Evil
Probably.
Lynn might do something else.
Evil Lynn might do
She's pretty
something
evil.
else. She's pretty evil for a Lynn. So,
Well, they didn't make a sequel, so it's probably best not to think about it.
did you see that after the credits scene where Skeletor came up and said, "I'll be back"?
No,
But he was.
we turned it
wasn't-
off.
He wasn't back. It was lies.
No, he did not come back.
No, I would have been okay with a Skeletor movie.
It didn't make enough money.
Okay, so they made it for 22 million. It only made 17.3 million at the box office. That would be a flop.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
I can't believe that movie cost $22 million.
1987. That would be like
That's a
60
lot of
million by
money.
today.
7.
Yeah.
And it does not look like a expensive
Well,
movie.
what else came out in '87? Like, what was it competing with?
Oh, okay. Good question.
That's like, because I think there were way better movies.
Stakeout
I don't remember that.
or
one.
Emilio Estevez.
Oh, that's where the garbage men.
Is that what they play?
That's Richard Dreyfuss and
Emilio
Okay,
Estevez.
no, I was thinking.
Emilio Estevez.
Like a buddy cop
I
movie.
like the one with Rosie O'Donnell, another Stakeout.
Yeah, that's a sequel. Yeah, and The Living Daylights,
Bond.
which is a Bond movie.
Yeah.
So it was out around that time, in August of '87.
I don't know when Short Circuit. I was thinking other kids' movies that were better, and like Short Circuit came out probably around this time.
Well, I think that even just the title, though, why not just if you call this movie He-Man, you're going to sell more tickets.
For sure.
Yeah,
Even if you call it He-Man and the Masters of the Universe,
yeah,
you'll sell more tickets.
yeah.
Yeah.
They already had a title. I don't know why they didn't go with it.
Maybe there it was, and they realized he was so bad that they didn't want to focus on him. Like, so they changed the.
Even if they call it Skeletor and the Masters of the Universe,
That
more
would've made
people
it
would.
better. Yeah.
Feel bad dumping all over him, but he is really terrible in this movie.
Did he do anything after this? Like
Oh,
Rocky,
The
this?
thing I've seen him in since is the Expendable movies, and those are awful.
Oh, I saw
Didn't-
the first one.
Didn't he do the Tarzan TV show, or is that another actor?
Remember, I didn't know.
I don't think so. That was shoot. What was that called?
Tarzan.
No, there was another one that their family ancestor home. What was that?
Swiss
one?
Family Robinson.
No. Where's Tarzan's family from? Like, what's the name?
England.
Anyway,
The
it's like
Jungle?
lock. No,
No, that's George.
no. Like when they find him and he goes back to England, and I think that's the name of the show. It's like Lockheed, or it's Gray something.
I didn't even know this existed.
Me neither.
Gray something, and it was like his British family name because he was like left there, right? Wasn't he?
I think so.
Well, I don't understand. Like, what's wrong with Dolph Lundgren? He says all the right things. He's very cool looking.
Just no personality to the character. That's all.
Who needs personality when you got Gwildor?
It's actually done a lot.
Okay, I guess.
Did you like Gwildor, Kevin?
Yeah, he was fine. He's like he's your Jar Jar Binks of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's,
Yeah.
Kind of comic relief, and kids would find him funny. He's fine.
He has some more emotional lines in this where he's like, "Only one of you, Kevin. Only one of all of us." Because he's like, "You're a song maker." He's like, "I'm just a keyboard player in a stupid band.
Yeah,
I'm not anybody."
Scene, and that is the scene where he says Kevin 4 times in one sentence. There's only one Kevin, and he says his name 4 times in a sentence.
Well, he's like, "I just love this name, Kevin. It's fun to say." So I'm gonna say the hell out of it. He's in, I say, questionably high spirits while Julie's dying of a terrible infection in her leg. This after Skeletor hits her with the Force lightning. Oh my god, that just reminded me. Yeah, Skeletor hits her with that Force lightning and creates that infection or whatever in her leg, which only the Sorceress can fix. But then later on, he has another Emperor-like moment when him and He-Man are having that sword fight near the end, and he finally goes down and he falls down that shaft, much like the Emperor did down the Death Star shaft. But it takes like, I don't know, 45 seconds. It's just like
No. When he fell down that shaft, I went, "Holy shit, that's Rafu." That's that whole like. It reminds.
Yeah, it is Rawafu.
Yeah,
from Star Trek Insurrection.
Scene from Insurrection.
So it was Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, with your guy Christopher Lambert from There Can Only Be One.
Highlander.
Are you saying this was competing with Highlander?
Well, this came out in 1984. Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan. And I can't remember why we started talking about Tarzan, but
Because I thought that Dolph Lundgren was in a TV show called Tarzan in the 90s, but it may have been another actor named called Wolfgang Puck. All right, so
the chef.
Jeff.
okay, it's not Wolfgang. That was the only one I can remember with the name Wolfgang. TV show.
Amadeus.
The Tarzan's TV series, 91 to 94.
Oh, French Canadian.
Wolf Larson.
Don't know.
It was like I may have only seen this because it was French Canadian and I live in Quebec.
Yeah,
and
most
so
likely. That's
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
all right, never mind. It's not important anymore. But the what was I going on about? Oh. No, I don't know. Sorry, I lost my thought.
We all went off the rails. It's all right.
It's okay. Gwildor.
Insurrection was the last kind of the fall in Insurrection.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you like the poster?
Yeah, the poster is great and so 80s.
It's very Star Wars.
Yeah.
they're both standing below his crotch in a very unsettling way, I think. And
Hang that up in my house.
I would
Tom
not.
Paris,
No, you would not.
Tom Paris seems to really like the poster.
he's like, oh my God.
Kevin doesn't know what to think though.
Yeah, no, Kevin. Okay, and this poster also makes me think of that whole scene where He-Man's getting whipped by Blade with the electric whip thing, and
Yeah.
like I guess what's happening is they're waiting for like the moon to get to a certain place so they can do their spell or whatever. But it looks like Skeletor is just spending all this time kind of getting off on himself while he's watching He-Man get whipped, like in a very erotic way.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
It's unsettling if you watch it back. I wonder because they kind of cut away, and I was like, Skeletor is the kind of dick who would make everybody watch him jerk off while you
Like a Weinstein type.
Weinstein or Louis C.K. perhaps.
CK type.
Perhaps. Because it's just
I
getting
can't let them do it.
Yeah.
Louis asked permission.
yeah, he's
But
worse than Louis C.K.
All right.
Yeah, it was just like he comes back, he's like, oh, He-Man, oh.
But the effects reminded me of the first season Star Trek
Yeah.
Next Gen. Like this.
Really?
Like the Ferengi or whoever it was needs to do that. Like the Ferengi whip.
It's about the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know, this is very close to season 1 of Next Gen when this was made. And sometimes I watched this on Amazon Prime. I watched this in like full high def, which I don't think I've really ever done before. And I was like, this movie looks really good in some places and really like it's, but in other places with some of these special effects, it looks very bad. Like some of the I think when He-Man's going around on his little hoverboard,
That's terrible.
not good.
Yeah.
You're
like a drink topper.
Yeah, and he's fighting these guys. He takes that one guy with a sword and he makes him blow up with his sword. I don't quite understand.
The Green Goblin scene in the first
Yes.
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's like a goblin glider. It's
Yeah.
for sure.
Just visually repulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other time is that whip. That whip looks really bad, even though it
Yeah.
kind of I think looked cool at the time because it had this like electric look to it. So that's why it was popular for like 2 years in the 80s. On some science fiction shows.
I remember too, a lot of these special effects looked better on fuzzy TVs.
Yeah.
True. And I had only seen this in like really low def. We used to have like a VHS recording of it was Back to the Future actually, and then like this was on like afterwards, right? It was like off ABC or whoever was airing it many years later because I'm born in 83, so this is probably like 89, 90, something like that. And I never saw the first part of this movie. Like I'd say up until the point where they meet Gwildor, right? Like that was kind of where my VHS recording started. So like that first few minutes, the whole opening credits being all like Superman-esque. I never seen any of that until much later in life. But I saw most of it. So, but I was like,
I had a Top Gun tape like that, VHS tape like that.
yeah, you watched it over
Played
and over.
and played. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now when I watch these things and now I watch these old things in high def, even old Star Trek episodes that I've seen a million times, but it's never quite this clear.
So you guys got a 4K TV. Do you notice a big difference? Have you? It's a
We
little
didn't
off
watch
topic.
We didn't watch this on the 4K. We watched this one on our projector.
Yeah.
Projector. Okay.
But
So it was like going to the theater in 1987 because
Yeah.
we have about the same size screen.
yeah, it's 100.
Oh.
It's 100 inches, so it's about the size of a 1987 movie theater. But in general, yeah, there's a big old stuff on the 4K TV looks like Canadian CBC TV. It's weird looking.
It makes everything look like the littlest hobo.
Yeah,
That's how Yep.
it's kind of
yeah,
odd.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we used to watch British TV and British TV used to look like shit. Like it just looked like the worst thing.
Yeah.
Now it's great. But like when we were like in the 90s, I try to put like Mr. Bean or something like that on. It was like there was like a frame rate conversion issue. And it always made like TV from Europe look like it was from like another world. So Anyway, so okay, we've been jumping all around. We talked to a lot of the characters. Is there anything else we need to talk about the man himself, Mr. Tom Paris? Is he
I liked him in this.
Me too.
Yeah,
Fine.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
Like both him and Courtney Cox did a good job in this movie.
Is he like a discount Marty McFly?
Yeah.
Except
I guess.
that's what I think was wrong with this movie. It felt like you're just taking from so many other sources. You know,
It's like a mashup movie.
that's what it felt like.
We're like,
So-
okay, these 4 movies have been super popular through the late 70s and early 80s. Let's just mesh them into one movie and throw He-Man in there.
Kind of, yeah.
It'll sell tickets.
And it didn't.
And it did not.
I feel like the movie would be better if they were just carrying a He-Man action figure
Yeah.
rather than having an actor.
Yeah, no real difference.
Just the
Yeah, yeah.
camera in front of the camera, just with the action figure. Like, walking
That would make it better.
Because I kind of want to know, like, do you think this opened up doors for him, this movie, or do you think it closed more doors? Because
All the
for Robert Duncan.
Or
Robert Duncan.
Robert Duncan.
For Robbie Duncan McNeill, as he's known.
For him, no.
I don't think it was either or. Like, I think it was just a neutral. He just did it, and it wasn't on the radar.
It's not an egregiously bad movie. Like, it's not.
No.
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 There are way worse movies than this movie.
Oh, yes.
Now he went on to, like, at the same time he was doing this, he was doing All My Children. He played a character named Charlie Brent over there. Went on to do a bunch of TV movies and made for TV specials, and he guested on Quantum Leap. Did shows like LA Law, and then went on to do that guest star on Next Gen, which led to him eventually getting Voyager a couple jobs later. But basically was a kind of a TV actor. Was more of a TV actor than a film actor through most of his career.
He's one of those guys that's done 1 or 2 episodes of a lot of your favorite shows
Mhm.
back then, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was one of the first Voyager cast to really start directing, which is kind of what he's fallen into more now. Although I understand he has a podcast with Garrett Wang where they kind of rewatch all the Voyager
really?
which I do,
Yeah.
which I do need to check out. I got to listen to the one at least where they did Threshold, where he turned into a big space salamander and had the babies with Janeway. So good job, Robert Duncan McNeill. You're as good in this as you are in Voyager, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which is
Mhm.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we do the radio theater, though, no one's ever excited to play Tom Paris.
No,
Everyone's
I've played
Everyone's always like,
twice,
"Oh."
and he's just like, because he's just a guy. He's not anything
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Sarah
Yeah.
Silverman was even considering him many years later in the not in real life, but the character she plays in Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
She was. What do you mean considering him?
Well, like they were kind of romantic, right?
Were they?
Weren't they?
I think
Oh, in
so.
the episode,
Yeah.
not in real life.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know, but like they're presented as romantic. They even kiss,
Oh.
right, in the end of that 2-parter. We haven't
He's
don't
he's
remember.
very successful on the holodeck with the Delaney or any like
The Delaney sisters.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
So-
Tom Paris has no problem getting
it's a match. He's a
some action, right?
Successful bachelor.
So he says.
When he gets Milana.
Well, I don't know if they were knocking down her door before they got together, but I guess did she have any romances before that?
Not that I can
No.
recall.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Milana Torres. Okay, I thought maybe we could just read some trivia, and just talk about this movie in general. We'll call it fun trivia with Dave.
Questionable trivia with Dave.
Questionable
Oh,
trivia.
That's good.
I like look at that.
Are you gonna put a banner? Yeah. There we
Yes.
go.
All right, here we go. All right. So starting on this. Wait, no, that's the wrong thing. So, okay, Frank Langella immediately agreed to play this role after reading the script because the son told him it was awesome. As we said earlier. He went on the record of saying that playing Skeletor was one of his favorite roles because his son was a huge fan of the show. As soon as he got the script, he was saying about the power of Grayskull. So, and he even wrote some of his own lines, this is my favorite line in the movie. It's, "Tell me about the loneliness of good, He-Man. Is it equal to the loneliness of evil?" Such a good line.
It is
A good line.
yeah.
We spoke to Meg Foster. Everyone thinking she was wearing contact lenses, but that's actually not true, that they were just her real eyes. And that she got a lot of jobs cast in sci-fi and fantasy shows because of that. The throne room set of Castle Grayskull was originally 2 large adjoining sound stages. The wall between the sets was knocked down to make one gigantic soundstage. At that time, that was the largest set Hollywood had seen in 40 years.
Wow.
This movie had the biggest set in 40 years.
That's where all the money went.
Dolph Lundgren said to a French magazine that working on this film was a nightmare. The shooting schedule was 5 months, including 2 months of night shooting. He said he was approached to do a sequel during shooting, and he turned down the offer. However, in an interview with IO9 website promoting The Expendables in 2010, Lundgren said he would return to appear in a new Masters of the Universe movie as either a cameo or as He-Man. That was 10 years ago. That 10 years later, I can say that has not happened yet. Anthony DeLongis trained Dolph Lundgren in the use of the sword. He also choreographed the sword fight between He-Man and Blade and the climactic duel between He-Man and Skeletor. DeLongis was the man who played our friend Blade in this movie. As
They
we mentioned here,
should have got a professional to do that because those fights were awful.
Yeah, they weren't that great for sword fights.
Yeah.
They were pretty slow.
Yeah.
Okay, Mattel, which owned and produced Masters of the Universe toy line, mandated early in production that He-Man could not kill anybody on screen. That's why Skeletor's troops are robots. Are they robots? They felt like real people to me.
I think they're real people in suits.
I thought yeah.
There was nothing to me that said that these were robots. Is that why he blew up when he hit him with the sword? And he didn't like...
Yeah, because he's a robot.
No. Okay, I just learned that. Okay. Well, that's
I have a fact
Oh.
myself.
Is it questionable?
No, it's fact. My roommate from university is married to a voice actor. So I met up with them. They're in Vancouver because he came to Anime North here. And he was Skeletor on Masters of the Universe versus Snake Men, a TV series from 2002 to 2004.
Which is the first reboot. And apparently they're doing
I have a connection to Skeletor.
You played Skeletor?
He played Skeletor, voice actor.
We should hear that.
It was weird at Anime North. Like we were there and we were walking around and we had like girls, like 20s, like following us. Like we had a following. It was like, yeah, for voice actors. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He-Man. All right. Production designer William Stout intentionally wanted the interior of Castle Grayskull to combine elements of both good and evil. Stout said that Castle Grayskull in an online interview, that was the seat of power for the entire universe. I reasoned that power is neither good nor bad. It's what you make of it and how you use it. So above floor level were called what I called the space gods. You saw these big statues, right? Like these giant bronze statues of those which had used the power based in that room for good. Below the floor level was the dark side, demonic creatures that represented the power used for bad or evil. I didn't really pick up on that. I was trying to figure out what those statues were in the big hall. I thought they were like maybe other empresses or sorceresses or whatever. Meg's costume weighed a reported Meg Foster, Evil Lynn. Costume weighed a reported 45 pounds. The actress sustained bruises to her groin from the breastplate she wears throughout the film. Foster said the breastplate, constructed of fiberglass, restricted her movements a great deal, which is why Evil Lynn is never shown sitting. Foster has also said that the discomfort of the costume helped inform her performance, as the weight and design of the costume forced her to puff out her chest during every take, thus generating the character's slinky posture.
Oh.
There you go. Sometimes. Dolph Lundgren does much of his own stunts in this movie.
Oh, good for him.
Doesn't surprise me.
Not at all, because they all suck.
The reptilian henchman Saurod's throat was made to expand and contract by having the performer Pons Mar blow in a tube that ran from his mouth to the throat of his costume.
Oh.
Where's Mr. Saurod? Sauron was the guy who got killed. He was like the one that Skeletor made an example of when they came back empty-handed. A Masters of the Universe sequel was written and cast, but was never filmed. Director Albert Puyan proposed to producers Golan and Globus that he would make the sequel and a Spider-Man film back-to-back at De Laurentiis' studio in Wilmington, North Carolina. The sets for the two movies were built. The costumes were made. Both films had been fully cast, and the budget for Masters of the Universe Part 2 was set at $4.5 million. That's a big jump from the 17 million
Yeah.
or 22 million they made for the first one. The Mattel toy line also gave their approval to many of the characters that would appear in the sequel. The only known actor cast for the sequel was surfer Laird Hamilton as He-Man, and the only aspect known about the sequel's screenplay was that He-Man would have returned to Earth and disguised as a professional quarterback. That doesn't sound
That
good.
would have been much better. I don't know about the story, but Laird Hamilton as He-Man would have been much better. Much better.
This director would have also used the same high school sets for Kevin and Julie later when he would direct Spider-Man. It is not known, though, if there were any new characters introduced from the Masters of the Universe cartoon or the toy line for the sequel. However, canon would be unable to make both the Masters of the Universe sequel and the Spider-Man as canon films would later go out of business. Skeletor's line, "I'm not in the giving mood this day," comes from Shakespeare's Richard III.
I haven't read that, seen that.
No, me either. But it makes sense. I think that like they said, Frank Langella was writing a lot of his own dialogue here. Or coming, what would Skeletor say?
Jesus Christ, guys!
Yeah. I'll just
changing the script.
This town that they're in is, I feel like, a town I've seen many times. Many of the buildings in the downtown area in this film are no longer standing, have been destroyed by the Witcher Narrows earthquake in October of 1987. So
what town was that?
I don't know. It felt like a set, but it was apparently a real place. Okay, in just this whole battle, when Skeletor shows up and like all these bad guys and they're fighting in the streets of whatever town Julie and Kevin live in, which is in California, because we see a California license plate, but it's like the police show up and they're like the Metro Police.
But there weren't really any spectators, any other people around.
No, it's like it's, and then the cops show up so much later and they're like, "What are you talking about?" To John, whatever his name is, Strickland's character, and the cop, they're like, "Come on, man!" And then they see the souped up pink Cadillac or whatever it is that Gwildor did up
Running down the street.
Right.
Yeah, but no pedestrians.
No pedestrians. No nothing.
No.
It was just like they took over this whole
Ghost
town. Ghost town.
Yep.
It did strike me.
No
as
money
odd.
for extras.
No money. Anthony DeLonge said that the chainmail that of his Blade outfit was 10 6-foot lengths of steel pipe cut into 1/4-inch pieces and weighed over 50 pounds, though DeLonge didn't know how much it actually weighed. His costume dresser reportedly wrote an actor's letter because she was worried about his health, since the weight was on top of a suit that was made of surgical rubber. DeLonge was able to convince the crew to cut the arms off his wardrobe to reveal more skin and breathe better. Speaking to Blade's character. So why did these costumes have to weigh so much? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because that's just what they needed to make them look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. Like, they spent all this money. You'd think they'd have a good costume designer that would know how to do it.
Here's
don't
a
know
good
where
one.
all this money went. It seems like nobody really knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
Like, they didn't hire any professionals. Did they just get a bunch of shawarma or something?
Well, it's kind of like a mixed bag. I feel like some of them are doing a good job and some of them aren't. So it's kind of questionable hiring. Here's a fun one. The Skeletor mask found new life on the sets of Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine as the face of the full-faced alien that Lieutenant Worf often fights on the holodeck. Frank Langella made a series of guest appearances on Deep Space Nine, while Robert Duncan McNeill guest starred on The Next Generation before getting a starring role on Voyager. I think I know the alien they're talking about.
Oh yeah, in the holodeck. Yeah, that he fights.
I do, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I was thinking
Skullman.
The Skullman. That's the alien that Worf's always fighting.
Yes.
All right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Actress Christina Pickles, who we mentioned plays the Sorceress, also plays Courtney Cox's mother on the TV show Friends.
Oh, really?
What do you know?
If you've seen Friends.
I have.
The Sorceress, Pickles, there plays Monica's mother.
Oh my God! Yes.
That's who that is.
Voice in
Yeah.
it.
Right. Who plays Monica and Ross's father on that show? It's like he's like from Ocean's
Oh, it's
11.
really cool.
Yeah.
Elliot Gould, yeah. Right. And so they played the
Oh,
Gellers.
yeah.
For the miniature shot set on Earth, the special effects men at Boss Film Studios reused some of the buildings left over from Blade Runner and Ghostbusters to fill out the background. I knew there was something from Ghostbusters I had seen before.
Really?
Yes.
So here's Skeletor in Star Trek. They painted. Oh,
You're not yet.
they painted. it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's Skeletor.
You just
Yeah.
make that big. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
same nose.
but they changed the teeth.
They added some teeth and they painted it like a yellowy color,
Yeah.
Oh.
yellowy green color instead of white.
Well,
So-
good job. So, but how does that how did Frank hey, guess what, man? Frank Langella used to be sweating inside this mask every day for 5 months. Guess what? Now you get to wear it today. Is that, don't they have to sanitize that or something?
Yeah, just
Probably did.
Just wash it out.
wash it out.
A little soap and water. It's be
Mhm.
fine.
Yep.
Okay. The character of Gwildor was created to replace Orko. So I was right on
There
that.
you go.
This was
Why
Courtney.
name
Why-
him Orko and
and-
call it a fucking day?
Yeah,
You
like
don't
why
know.
replace him?
Because they couldn't make a flying man.
I guess, yeah, because
I
Orko
guess,
was
yeah.
flying.
This was Courtney Cox's first major big budget motion picture.
And she did an adequate job. It was good.
Dolph Lundgren was dropped from the abandoned sequel because they said he asked for too much money, which they couldn't afford to pay him. Well, they went out of business. So, Blade was written as a replacement for Trapjaw. I remember Trapjaw
Yeah.
on the cartoon. The look of Skeletor's robot warriors were modeled after the samurai. I thought they were real people.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they were real people for sure. Well, they were real people, but
I didn't think they were robots. Thought they were just like stormtroopers.
Yeah, they legitimately look like death troopers.
Yeah, like they moved. They didn't move like robots.
Yeah.
They talked kind of robotic, but I just thought that was how their voice was coming through, like their helmet. or
I
whatever.
assume they were just people in suits.
They don't go out of their way to tell. I even feel like they made it obvious this was a robot. You know,
I had no idea they were robots.
No, me neither. And I've seen the movie so many times.
because when I remember it was during this era when even the Ninja Turtles and that cartoon, they were never when they fought like the foot soldiers, they were always robots in that version. So because it was, I guess the idea at the time was like it's okay for these superheroes to they're gonna use their swords on a robot, but not on a real person, right? So
Yeah.
He-Man was an awesome movie, but it's not. That was the whole problem. It wasn't called He-Man. It was called Masters of the Universe, starring He-Man, and it didn't sell enough tickets.
that's where they went wrong.
There's so many more fun facts. I could keep going forever. Like
Go up.
Maybe
go up.
not forever, but you can do a few more.
where?
Oh no, sorry, I just saw that, but I'm like, yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Okay, this movie is a loose adaptation of the cartoon.
Yep.
Yes, loose is correct.
Is that a questionable fact?
That's a questionable fact. Well, it's not quite. It's almost unquestionable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the spoiler stuff. That's even more saying. The Snake Man and She-Ra were in early drafts. William Stout was able to get Gary Goddard to approve his redesigned She-Ra costume, which was a futuristic white and gold suit consisting of a gold crown, a long-sleeved top that revealed She-Ra's cleavage and midriff, gold chain, a male skirt, and knee-high boots. However, the Snake Man and She-Ra were cut out due to the film's limited budget. They had to spend it on Beastman. In the official Masters of the Universe comic book adaptation, an alternate spelling is used that was written for the movie but never filmed. In the comic, after the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor, Man-at-Arms comes from the depths of Castle Grayskull carrying a NASA and United States flag. The NASA flag has Starfinder 5, July 10th, 2221 written on it, revealing that the first humans on Eternia were actually from a future American space mission.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's
Mind blown.
Technology and magic.
Yeah.
And time travel. I think that this world had potential, but they, maybe to your point, Dolph Lundgren wasn't the right guy, right, to carry this. Canon executives allowed the production 7 weeks of additional photography and $7 million overrun on the budget, but still the plug before the climax was in the can. The sentence doesn't make sense. Gary Goddard pleaded with them to let him finish at least the final battle, was granted one more day. So they had to give him $7 more million to finish this movie. Is kind of what they've always said. It was kind of like it was like a sieve. They were hemorrhaging badly, as I would say.
Money pit.
Canon Film originally had plans to make a Spider-Man movie, but opted out to take the money and split it for these two other films: Superman 4: The Quest for Peace and Masters of the Universe. I don't know if that was the right business decision. The plan was to take the profits with both of those movies and make a large budget Spider-Man. I get the logic. Both movies bombed, and the Canon-produced Spider-Man movie never materialized. So it seems like Canon, they were like, guess what? We're making Masters of the Universe. We're making Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. We're going to be taking over the movie business in a few years when we make Spider-Man. Didn't work out. Mattel refused to have any action figures based on characters killed in the movie. Ironically, one of the three characters which Mattel turned into an action figure, Sorod, gets killed.
All right.
Some of these are some of these facts are just they're really long and they're poorly written too. I gotta say. So I started reading them and I'm like, this isn't a good sentence.
Well, we don't have to hear them if you don't want to.
Okay, I'm
We don't need all of them.
Body count 43, mostly Skeletor's robot troops.
43 robots die in this movie.
43 robots. Even that janitor who gets beat up pretty bad, he technically lives.
And one acting career.
Skeletor also falls into a bottomless pit filled with water in the New Adventures of He-Man: Quest for the Crystals, 1990.
Okay, so two more.
In some versions of the extra scene after the ending credits, Skeletor's head is light green.
He was light green in ours.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And I have to find a good one now.
Oh, anyone. They're all good.
No, they're not all good. Okay, well, I'm going to have to pick something random. Okay, in the movie, Skeletor's crack troopers are robot warriors, so you say. In the cartoon, Skeletor had robot warriors that served him called robot knights. Okay, that's it. That's it for questionable trivia. Okay, would you like to give this movie a rating out of 10?
Sure.
Okay, who would like to go first? Jane, would you want to rate first?
It's hard. Should I speak for myself or in general? Because I wasn't the target audience at this age for sure.
It's a movie. It stands on itself. Okay, we're up 2 ratings. You're gonna rate.
No, I don't want to go down that road. But so me watching it today, I give it a 3 out of 10. 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. And
Yeah.
what would you give Robert Duncan McNeill?
I give him 7 out of 10.
And a 7 for his performance.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Exactly the same. 4 out of 10 for this movie.
And 7
7.
for Robert Duncan McNeill.
Yeah, I would say so. 4 for the movie because, I mean, the podcast is questionable movies. I don't think anything should really be above 5. But there are things that are not bad about this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ashley, do you want to give your ratings?
I'm going to give the movie a 5.
Okay, you're giving the movie a 5, and what would you give Robert Duncan McNeill? Tom Paris.
I'll give him a 7.5.
Okay, and I'll go last here, and I'm going to give this movie. This is like a 7. I think.
I think 10.
And I'm going to give this movie. I'm going to give Robert Duncan McNeill. He's like at least
Babylon 5 fan.
yeah. So let's just kind of figure out the average here. And average the 2. Okay. All right. So I don't have a fancy form to show you here, but this movie on average had a rating of 5 from the 4 of us.
Okay. What about on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes? I'm just curious.
On Rotten
Tomatoes was
something,
17%.
17.
17%.
Yeah, and some of the reviews I read were pretty good. One about there being no way they would make another Rambo movie because Dolph Lundgren used up all of the grease, all of the body movie. There's none left.
Yeah, he was pretty slicked up in this.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's why I got a point for
and
me.
Robert Duncan McNeill got a 7.3 out of 10 for his performance.
Actually,
he's pretty good in it.
I think that might be a good thing to do with these questionable movies, as well as do like facts, but also then read some of the reviews.
He's a 7 out of 10. Voyager as well. He's
a 7 out of 10 actor.
Yeah, actor. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a reliable. He's kind of like a hockey player or a baseball player. You know, he's batting a solid 215. No, it's not solid.
I don't know.
No, more like a 280, right?
No idea.
Maybe a 300.
Sure.
Okay.
I know nothing about scores in baseball.
300 is pretty good batting average.
Oh, okay.
300.
Bowling too. Good bowling, right?
Right. Well, we're trying to rate him as an actor, comparing him as a professional athlete, and we're saying he's okay. He's not going to be your star, but he's a good supporting character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap this up tonight for Star Trek Actors in Question Movies, episode 1. We'll be back. Do another one. What do we want to do next? Just kind of break down. Because we talked about Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We talked about Gremlins 2 is another one because that has Robert Picardo. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know if that's a questionable movie. I haven't seen it, but it would have to be. Yeah.
I liked it.
I also liked it.
I also want to do Eating Raoul, which features Robert Beltran.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see Robert Beltran in an art house piece with subtitles?
Oh
my God, it's subtitles too.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't know. Well,
it's questionable. And that's the criteria. So we're.
Oh yeah. What about Dune?
Dune, is it questionable?
I liked it, but a lot of people hate it.
Who's in Dune?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Oh right.
Okay, so here are the parameters. There has to be a Star Trek actor from a show or movie that's somewhat known, right? Like it has to be a character that not just like a one-time guest star.
Not
and
yet, not until we start running out of movies.
not until we start running. And they need to have like at least a bit of a role in the movie. They can't just say one line or something like that. So, that's it. And then we'll break it all down because we get really attached to these actors and these characters. Well, some of us more than others. And so it's, as I was thinking about Kevin and Ashley there.
I was just that's directed at me.
Yeah. And we like, following their careers and seeing how maybe those Star Trek performances compared to their other performances and their other big things that kind of made them who they are. So a lot of fun. We hope you like this. We hope you will subscribe and will listen and comment more as we continue this podcast series, along with our other Live Long and podcast series. We also have Star Trek Radio Theater. We just did 26 episodes over the first season. That was a lot of fun. And we just wrapped up Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home is our season 1 finale, which there's a remastered audio version out there now where you can listen to sound effects. There's whales in there. We cut out a lot of like the pauses. So it's a different listening experience than the live version, but you can still listen to on Facebook and YouTube if you want to kind of go back and listen to the original recorded version. We also have our Deep Space Nine podcast on Tuesdays, where we watch every episode in order of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Just coming up on episode 17 of season 2. We're getting almost to the good stuff. So great time to jump on. We're doing original series on Wednesdays, where we watch an original series episode. We just did Amok Time last week, and next week we're doing The Way of the Gun, which is where they go to the OK Corral.
Spectre of the Gun, Dave.
Spectre of the Gun. That's what it's called. I keep wanting to call it The Way of the Gun.
First episode I ever saw. That's my first Star Trek episode. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it's a cowboy episode. So that should be a lot of fun. And then Thursdays, we're still doing Star Trek Discovery, but this is going to be Christmas Eve this Thursday coming. So we're gonna do it on Boxing Day instead. But it's still going to air and release on Christmas Eve. We just won't have a podcast out until a couple days later. I guess that's the sensible thing to do. You can also watch all our other back catalog stuff. Like we did Star Trek Lower Decks earlier this year. We did. Remember when we did the Star Trek movie rewatches, Kevin and Ashley?
Yes.
It feels like a long time ago now, but that's all there.
The first lockdown.
The first pandemic lockdown. We also did Star Trek Picard.
Yeah.
That's all there too.
Shit.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like a long time ago now, but we've been going about almost a full year strong on Live Long and Podcast, covering all the stuff. I like to think the Live Long and Podcast is the ESPN of Star Trek, where we're going to cover all the different Star Trek out there and break it all down. So it's that's our new vision. All right. And our other channels. Yep. Super Mater Brothers Podcasting and Trivial Debates. Okay, so check out those other channels as well. All right. Thank you, Kevin, Ashley, Jane, for doing this podcast and talking about this movie with me. I'm glad that we kind of all liked it, sort of. I liked it more than the rest of you, but it's okay. And signing off, and we'll be back for episode